NCIS has been on air for ages. Imagine having 19 whole seasons to binge through and even more on the way. The series of a whole group of tough cops that go around solving crimes and helping people is one of the most popular in the entire world. So in today's video, we'll be looking at the 10 NCIS characters who deserved much better deaths. Let's get into it. Let's start with people love the show and its characters. This show has been raking up viewers since it started, and it's not much of a surprise that people love it. For those of you who don't know, NCIS is an actual civilian agency whose job is to look into criminal, foreign, and terrorist intelligence threats to the United States Navy and Marine Corps. It's about a group of agents who work out of the nation's capital. People love watching law enforcement officers doing their jobs and keeping people safe. The show stands out from other shows not only because it has a great story and likable characters, but also because it understands its viewers and reflects their values. The characters value tradition, and their own set of rules are more important than any rules that are politically correct or imposed by the government. We love rule breakers too. These characters have slowly made their way into our hearts, and we find ourselves super attached to them. So when they're killed off or are caught in the crossfire, we feel for them. While viewers understand that characters need to die here and there are always some deaths that shock us to our core. Plus, there are some characters whose deaths could have been handled a lot better. So for all of you NCIS fans out there, we've compiled the top 10 character deaths that could have been handled so much better. Firstly, at the 10th spot, we've Tom Morrow. Before we got to the super badass cop Jenny Shepard, Tom Morrow was in charge of the team from the first season until the start of the third season. After that, he became the deputy director of the Department of Homeland Security. Even though he left the team, he stayed friends with Gibbs, Fornell, and Vance, and sometimes worked with them. We loved the episodes where he'd show up to help his friends. Nothing is better than a strong, loyal friendship. Unfortunately, because of their love for each other, his death hit Gibbs especially hard and left us bawling on the floor too. When he went to see his friend, his wife was there to greet him. In one of the most heartbreaking moments in TV history, our hero found him dead in his home office. We didn't find out who killed him at first, but then we found out that his untimely demise came about because he was helping the team. They were working together to find an MI6 agent who'd gotten away. Trent Court, the traitor, was the one who shot him. Fans of the show couldn't imagine how much an important character was killed off screen when he should have gone down in a blaze of glory. Now for Diane Sterling at the 9th spot. Since Shannon and Kelly Gibbs died in a tragic accident, Gibbs has had nightmares over and over again. Can you imagine how horrible it must be to watch people that you love get killed? He was affected by it so badly that he started seeing them in his dreams. So he went after the person who killed them, like we knew he'd do. In season 12, he lost his second wife out of his 4 wives. During the time they were together, she was killed. Aside from him, her daughter Emily and her other ex-husband Tobias Fornell were also affected. Fornell's life turned upside down when he became a single parent out of the blue. This made the agent and Fornell look for the mercenary Sergei Mishnev quickly. Her death was very unceremoniously done. Gibbs loved her and she had an entire family. She shouldn't have gone out like this, like collateral damage. It enraged viewers everywhere because she was a pretty great character. Coming up at the 8th spot, we've got Ned Dornegat. His role on the show was very small, but many viewers were still shocked and saddened by his death. He died after just 3 seasons of the show. 3 seasons were enough for us to form an emotional connection with the character. During season 12, Dornegat and McGee were on a trip to Cairo when the hotel they were staying in caught fire. In true NCIS fashion, it turned out that the fire was arson, and our favorite agent made it his mission to figure out who the terrorist group was that set the fire. When his mother Joanna showed up right after he died, made the tragedy even worse. He should have had a much bigger part in the series, and while we understand that the arson set up a cool season, it could have been handled so much better. Let's look at Ziva David at the 7th spot. While it turned out that the character wasn't dead after all, it still shocked us to the core. It was a super duper hard episode to watch, seeing the team go through everything and then watching her die. In season 13, CIA agent Trent Court sent up a mortar attack that destroyed her house. The writers of the show made it seem like she had died. She was a fan favorite, which made her death even more shocking. Fans thought that she might have to go on a secret mission and we wouldn't have to say goodbye to her for good. It was mostly because of some off-screen drama, but fortunately the executives made up up with the actress and she came back. Anyway, Tony was devastated by her death, so he quit NCIS to take care of his daughter and find out what happened to her. But she finally came back, so fans don't have too much to say about this one. Up next at the 6th spot, we've Paula Cassidy. She often went to the Pentagon and Guantanamo Bay in her job as an NCIS special agent. Most people thought of Ziva David as Caitlin Todd's replacement on the team, but she soon made the character stand out. Unfortunately, because she was friends with Tony DiNozzo, things ended pretty badly for her. In season 4, a major character death was bound to happen. At this point, Cassidy was running her team, but then the worst happened, and their building blew up, causing 2 of her agents to die. It seemed like a stroke of luck that she made it out of there alive. After having a small breakdown over the deaths of her friends, she closed the hole in the brick wall behind her and gave her life to protect Gibbs and Tony from a second bomb. While it seems like the perfect way for her to die, fans were super sad because she finally got everything she wanted. What's more, we've Jackson Gibbs in the 5th spot. Not every death on NCIS is caused by a gunshot or an explosion. This was one of the saddest deaths ever on TV. We got to know this wonderful character who was Gibbs's father and was in the US Army Air Force during World War II. It broke our hearts when he died in season 11. When the agent went back home to take care of some things, he discovered that someone had come to his house to kill him. The episode showed them in the past and talked about how hard life had gotten. In the end, he gave the family business to Kyle Frazier, who worked for his father. This death was pretty sad because the actor who played him, Ralph Waite, died, and the show decided to kill off his character as a tribute to him. Following up at the 4th spot, we've Clayton Reeves. This was the most shocking and unexpected thing to happen on the show after Caitlin died. Reeves joined the cast as a new member, and he helped Bishop and Torres. He was the go-between MI6 and the NCIS team. Soon, he became very fond of the other people on his team, and we grew pretty fond of him too. Someone tried to steal from Abby and Reeves, and that was when he was killed. After putting his life in danger to protect Abby, he was shot by the thief when he tried to stop him. Abby was so devastated by his death that she ended up leaving the team too. Not to mention Mike Franks at the 3rd spot. This character was, without a doubt, one of the most memorable guest stars on the show. As the NCIS supervisory special agent, he was the one who helped Gibbs the most. Before the first episode of the show, he moved to Mexico and was no longer an officer, but the agent could still talk to him whenever he needed to. He also looked into Jenny's death on his own, but then helped Gibbs cover up his own mistakes. In season 8, on the way to the agent's house, he met an assassin, and that was the last time we saw him. It was a sad loss, and Gibbs kept seeing Franks in his dreams for a few more seasons. He doesn't let things go, and we don't either. Coming up at the top 2nd spot, we've Jenny Shepard's death. We've got to see the poor character die in season 5 of the show. While it was one of the coolest moments in the show, it was also one of the saddest deaths in NCIS history. She went out with a bang. She killed a lot of people with her gun before she finally accepted her fate and died. She was killed when she found out that NCIS Special Agent William Decker had probably been killed instead of dying of natural causes. The killers stopped her from meeting Franks at a diner. Tony and Gibbs were very saddened by her death, so they set out to find out what happened and who was to blame. Lastly, we have Kate Todd at the top spot. In most police procedurals, it's a given that the good guys always win and live. The 2nd season of the show made us believe that it's not always what happens. The team was looking for Ari David, an Arab who was also working for a spy for Israel. Gibbs, Tony, and Caitlin climbed to a roof after stopping a suicide bomber. When our favorite agent was about to be killed, Kate jumped in front of him. She was lucky that she had on a bulletproof vest. While the other two were talking, Caitlin was shot in the head. It was super graphic and it devastated us. That's a wrap for this video. Whose death was the most devastating to you in the entire NCIS series? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.